DC, but I mean DC Studios can't catch a break at the minute. Every movie, every TV series that comes out, it's all under DC Studios now. James Gunn and Pete Safran, I hate to say it, you're in charge of absolutely everything that comes out now. So it makes less than Black Adam. How can a movie that has Michael Keaton as co-main lead, he's everyone's favorite Batman. I think this proves he's not even close to everyone's favorite Batman. That's predominantly Batfleck, then Christian Bale mostly. Wow. Less than Black Adam's opening weekend. It got beat by Into the Spider-Verse, which is an animated movie, but that movie's actually pretty good. I don't necessarily think The Flash is a bad movie, but a lot of mistakes were made way ahead of time, way before this movie comes out. Who's to blame? DC needs to reboot absolutely everything properly. And not if nepotism, I'll keep my brother, I'll keep my friend. It needs to reboot absolutely everything. So yo, what is freaking good, YouTube Watch you here? If you're new around it, make sure to subscribe to never miss any of the guys you Monsterverse, Marvel, DC, pop culture content that I try to do on a daily basis. If you could subscribe to the channel, turn notifications on. Let me know, why did The Flash flop? I think most people have a good indication why. Also check us out on Twitter, WatchUG, and check us out on Instagram, WatchUG, to see a beautiful face behind the beautiful voice. So I tweeted this earlier, and I got a lot of private DMs. People ain't got the to actually publicly say what they mean to me, or publicly say something. It's like, why do you have to privately DM me? Just say it openly. Yeah, I know I don't really respond to tweets often, but maybe I will. So I said this, reboot the whole of DC. Don't release Blue Beetle or Aquaman 2. What they should do, cut their losses, tax write them off. Neither of these movies are going to make money. Test screening for Aquaman 2 recently came out that it was abysmal. It was an abomination. And they're doing reshoots, which means they're paying Jason Momoa even more money. Blue Beetle, I feel sorry for you, but you got no chance. If Michael Keaton's movie, basically, he was advertised as the co-lead alongside Ezra Miller. Ezra Miller did a great job. And then the rest of the tweet said, reboot DC Studio, new heads, replace James Gunn and Pete Safran, wipe everything, relaunch in 2026. It's a Flash flops, reboot it all. It hasn't flopped yet, but realistically, historically speaking, a movie that opened this low is never going to break even. When the Flash movie had a Super Bowl advert, they cost $5 to $6 million. NBA advert, allegedly $16 million. So much money went into hyperbolic fake marketing. And we can say it's fake marketing now because James Gunn, the head of the studio, I get it. The studio comes under your name now because you're a co-lead. And yes, predominantly, the movie doesn't have much to do with him, but it does because you change the ending, you change the post-credit scene. One of your first actions when you take over the studio is to be like, yo, Henry Cavill, you're not my Superman. So, after Michael DeLuca and Pam Abdi somehow got the Black Adam meets Superman post-credit scene, he announces that he's back. Man of Steel 2 is in development. Now, I'm not saying that would have saved everything, but the few fans you had left, you decided to annoy them by getting rid of the boy Henry Cavill. This movie is a throwaway movie. It's not going anywhere. The director coming out saying, yeah, Reverse Flash was going to be in the second movie. Well, you had a massive L there. You should have put him in the first movie. You got a movie that deals with the death of Nora Allen. It's Mr. Eobard Thawne who does it. You should have done that. And narratively speaking, this movie was so basic, and I think I was a little bit too nice when I reviewed it. So the blame somehow is going to fall on, it's because of the Snyderverse. Really? There hasn't been a Snyderverse movie in literal years. There hasn't been a DC movie that has actually made money in years. I don't include Joker or the Batman 2. They are Elseworld standalone stories that have nothing to do with a continuity, with a shared universe. And y'all think James Gunn is going to come in and change everything when there's already leaks. It's already leaking who's screen testing. I do find it hilarious how James Gunn comes in and says, yeah, we're going to have no leaks, I'm going to debunk everything. And literally, as these people were screen testing for Superman, for Lois Lane, there is people telling you who is screen testing on the Warner Bros. Plot lock in Burbank whilst it's happening. And you can't come out and debunk it because then you'd confirm it's real. Now, I'm not going to go over who is actually in the lead to play Superman and Lois. I don't actually think there's any good picks there, if I'm honest. They all look like Henry Cavill. It's like, if you're not going to have Henry Cavill, don't pick people that just look like it. So, boys, kits. Meanwhile, right now on the Warner Bros. Lot, James Gunn is screen testing Nicholas Hoult, no. David Corsick, no. Tom Brittney, no. Emma McEnkey, yes. For Lois, yes. Phoebe, Rachel in full wardrobe and makeup for the roles of Clark Kent and Lois Lane for Superman Legacy. So the problem is, the leak and spoiler community is fine, but not when it's at the point when you are screen testing people and it's already leaking. What is going on? Is there no security over at Warner Bros. Studios? Like, sort it out, lads. Surely you can keep screen testing secret, because this whole George Clooney cameo ending didn't leak over 6 months ago. Oh, wait. It did, but people actually didn't believe it was real. So I know people would turn to Ezra Miller and say it's Ezra Miller's fault. I even read an article saying it was his fault because he didn't do a full press junket. Ezra Miller doing a press junket made absolutely no difference. He's not been in the public eye in over a year. Warner Bros. Have done very good damage control, actually keeping him out of public eye. I think the reason this movie's going to lose a lot of money is the hyperbolic marketing, getting everybody and their son and their dog to come out and say it's the greatest thing ever. Getting a highly respected, because let's be honest, James Gunn is a highly respected director. Pretty much every Guardians movie he's made, including the most recent one, $850 million. Currently, very successful, but that's already in a, okay, sure, he helped develop that universe, but he wasn't the head honcho. People can say it was Kevin Feige's number 2, and he looked over scripts, but he didn't EP on a lot, did he? No. So could James Gunn? See, I'm in the mindset where I think they should get rid of absolutely everyone because James Gunn has ties to Suicide Squad, Peacemaker. They should scrap absolutely everything, come out with a new plan, and go from there, because they've already lost a bunch of money. And having Andy Muschietti direct Batman Brave and the Bold when he couldn't make a movie that great, when you've got Michael Keaton, when you've got access to Ben Affleck. Ben Affleck came out and said his role that the movie was done, it was over too soon. I'm sure if they wanted him longer. You had Michael Shannon Zod, who is a great actor, and it was so empty. I don't believe anyone attached to any DC movie after The Dark Knight should be attached to anything going forward. And to come out and say that Andy and Barbara are great. Yeah, they're great when they're doing horror movies, not so much DC stuff. Now, I think it's a decent to kind of good movie, but the problem is there was a lot of drama going on behind the scenes, and it's not just a Flash movie. Black Adam lost money. Shazam 2 lost money and flopped hard. Pete Safran is the co-head. He's the producer of Shazam 2. His movie flopped. The Flash flopped. James Gunn is massively to blame, coming out saying you're going to reboot everything. And then it turns out you're not actually rebooting everything. You're keeping all your friends, you're bringing your friends along for the ride, which that's not how you do business. He's thinking like a director. Let's bring my friends across because I've already worked with them. Cool story, bro. Cool story. But to come out and say all these movies are absolutely irrelevant, no wonder no one went to see The Flash. No wonder Blue Beetle is going to lose money most likely. No wonder Aquaman 2 is going to lose money in the test screening so badly. But to come out and say the Flash movie was screen testing on the level of The Dark Knight, and then we look at the real reviews on Rotten Tomato, and studios love Rotten Tomato. They love Metacritic. They love CinemaScore. A B on CinemaScore. You can say Rotten Tomato doesn't mean anything. You can say Meta doesn't mean anything. But the CinemaScore B, it got lower than Thor Love and Thunder. It got lower or the same of Black Adam. I'm freestyling this. I haven't got my notes in front of me. It really is fascinating how people will say the hate for this movie. You're just Snyderverse bros. No, this is movie after movie. DC went wrong after Birds of Prey. You can say what you want about the Snyderverse movies, but they all made money. You can't really say the Justice League movie did bad because of Snyder. It wasn't his movie. They literally reshot the movie under Joss Whedon. Man of Steel made money. BVS made money. The first Wonder Woman made money. Aquaman made money. They all spin off Zack Snyder's vision. So you can say what you want about the Snyderverse, but that was a real plan here. So I'm fascinated to see if The Flash doesn't make at least $600 at the box office globally, which it's near enough impossible for that movie to do that now. What is James Gunn going to do going forward? Because he's coming out swinging with Superman Legacy. If that movie doesn't do well, I honestly think people won't even believe in him in DC because he just seems generic with what he's doing. You're literally trying to cast a Henry Cavill Superman lookalike. Nicholas Hoult, David Korsnett, they all look like, give or take, Henry Cavill kind of Superman look. Why don't you just get a Superman that, you know, that is in pretty good shape? Does he really have to look like Henry Cavill or Christopher Reeve? No, DC is really... And I'm a really big DC fan. I would say up to 50% of the channel content is DC. But it's like, I don't even want to cover like Blue Beetle or Aquaman 2 because they're pointless and they're not going anywhere. And to ask Zack Snyder, have you seen the Flash movie? When he's at a Netflix presentation in Brazil about Rebel Moon, I mean, Zack will always say stuff, but just because he says he's excited to see it, he loves Ezra, etc. Zack's a very nice, positive person. So that doesn't really mean he's going to go watch The Flash, but he's there for Rebel Moon. He really doesn't care for DC anymore. Unless it's his universe, he really doesn't care. But him and Deborah, they're really cool people. And like I said, they should have involved in EP positions, at least in The Flash movie, because it was their universe. Zack could have been on set when the Zod fight happened because he would have elevated it. It was like Michael Shannon was there, but he didn't really care. But they kind of needed him for this story. Where do they go? Where do they go? The funny thing is, the DCEU had great potential. Really did. Had the studio not involved, had Walter Hamada not got involved in the way he did, had Jeff Johns not messed stuff up. Because if you go back to the Suicide Squad cut, okay, sure, it wasn't David Ayer's cut. It still made a lot more money than James Gunn's version of the movie. I'm still flabbergasted how you can release a movie called The Suicide Squad, which I liked, and you can check out on the Instagram. There's a post. I liked it, but it made no money. And the David Ayer version made tenfold. The Flash movie was actually supposed to come out in 2018. 2023, 5 years later. It's like, what if scenario? What if you actually let Zack run with it? It can't have gone any worse than the movies have gone since he left. You can't say the Joker. You can't say the Batman. They're Elseworld. They're completely standalone. They've got nothing to do with anything else. DC is screwed. It really is. And I don't believe in this new plan because James Gunn is part to play in the downfall of the Flash movie. Who announces a full reboot before you've got 3 big movies coming out in the same year? Someone not acting like a studio head. That is such a bad business move. And you're not even doing a full reboot. You're really not. You're keeping all your friends along. That is not a full reboot. Amanda Waller, who was in the post-credit scene with Black Adam and Superman, she somehow survived. No, you just recast everyone, recast the studio, refire the studio. It needs no attachments to anything. That's never going to happen. I wouldn't say I'm 100% against a new DCU plan. I just don't think there's much of a plan there. It's very empty outside of Superman: A Legacy and Batman: Brave and the Bold. Nobody cares for these animated stuff unless it's on like Across the Spideyverse level or the Flashpoint Paradox animated movie. No one really cares for these minor things. So it will be very interesting to see what if these suggested ideas, do they actually make the light of day? I can really see Warner Bros. Discovery selling to Comcast and cutting their losses because that rumor at some point it's going to be true. Doing 100 fan screeners to say the movie is great and wondering why these same fans that got free tickets didn't go and watch the movie. $60 million opening weekend, according to WatchMojo.com. Also discussing the film is reporting it. Yeah, the same numbers are being reported everywhere. And you wonder why. You let thousands of fans see it for free and you really think they're going to go pay to watch it after they've already seen it. It's the lowest opening in 2023. Just for context, Super Mario opened at 370 globally. Guardians 3, 280. Quantumania, which ended less than 500 million run, 227. John Wick, 100. It got less than John Wick. It did less than The Little Mermaid. It's not going to get any higher. It's not going to be a better second weekend. You've taken the L. You should have just put Reverse Flash in the movie. You should have put Henry Cavill because why not? It may have made no difference, but at least people would have enjoyed it more. I'm really lost for words. I mean, should we blame the writer who wrote this movie? I don't know. Who's to blame? Let me know down below. What would you do with the future of DC? Do you believe in James Gunn's plan, which is really centered around him because he's ahead of his studio, but all he wants to do is direct a movie? Why not hire people and act like a studio head, act accordingly, read the room, stop thinking you're a director? You can write the script, cool. Do you have to direct it? Do you have to do absolutely everything yourself to save money? I don't know. The budget is going to be very freaking low for that movie because they're going to have no money because they've made no money in years. So like always, guys, check us out on Instagram at Stu. Check us out on Twitter. Stu G. And I will catch you in another video very soon, guys. Catch you later.